All right. So good afternoon or good evening once again. Okay. So today we were going to start our class basically on sociology of religion. Okay. So we have completed the block one,
Okay.
block two, and today we are going to start with the block three. Okay. Basically, the block three
Okay,
section
sir.
is about religious authority and education. All right. So here you will have 4
Okay.
credits from these courses. Okay, so block 3 have 5 units, 11 to 15. Please mute yourself, Mr. Devabrata. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, today's lecture content will be a guide to the scholarly journey. Okay, that is first we will discuss about from unit 11 to unit 15 of block 3. Then I will try to explain what is the objectives of this block and what will be the outcome. Okay, and we will also have an in-depth discussion, critical analysis, and the scholarly uh, discourse. Okay, and then lastly we'll come to the check your progress. There are questions and
Okay, sir.
lastly conclusion and the synthesize, summarizing key themes and future pathways. ठीक है? तो जो हम लोगों ने पहले जो क्लास किया था ब्लॉक 2, वहाँ पे एक्चुअली द सेक्शन इज रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस. ओके, सो वहाँ पे यूनिट 6 टू यूनिट 10, जो यूनिट 6 में रिलीजियस practices and objectives, significance of religious practices, rituals and its motifs, sacrifices and its causes, religious practices and agencies. So ये सब यूनिट मैंने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा चुका है. Okay, so all these units we will go and discuss in the large doubt clarification sessions. All right. So block 2 established the performative elements of faith. It demonstrated how rituals, sacrifices, and shared practices functions not merely as spiritual act but as vital mechanisms of symbolic communication and reinforce group identity, mitigate anxiety, and sustain societal cohesion. Okay, so मैंने already class के ले चुका है. In the block 1 we discussed about different theoretical ideas of religion that has been discussed by the social and the social anthropologists. Basically, by Emile Durkheim, we also discussed how this religious is part of the belief that leads to community and moral unity, right, or uniformity of the society, right? So we also talked about how earlier the system of belief towards the natural towards the spiritual being, they also call as the animism. First understanding of religion was animism, right, where all the people, all the individuals believe in the spiritual beings that are unseen things, right? So it was by sociology, anthropology, E.V. Taylor who propounded the term animism. Okay, and we also talked about the naturalism, which was coined by Max Muller, where he talks about how natural calamities and natural aspects also influence the society in understanding religion through naturalism. Okay, and you come the Durkheim, who was also the functionalist, or who was more into the functional aspects of society. He talks that how the object or the totem is a form of belief that human takes place in the society through the objects of totem or through any objects that one felt it's sacred is known to be the elementary forms of religious practice, right? So I also discussed in a block 2 how religious practices are a form of rituals as well as the motifs. How religion is actually a part of the society which they are influenced in terms of both socially and individually. Okay, so how religion as an aspects of belief make you to motivate, make you to understand oneself, one's emotional anxiety and one's emotional uh, communal, community symbolic representations. Okay, so यूनिट ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ ब्लॉक 3 जो आज हम लोग पढ़ने के लिए जा रहे हैं वो है religious education, tradition and modernity, meanings and role of religious authorities, functions of religious authorities, temple, mosque, gurudwara and church, role of prophets and gurus. Okay, so these are the units of block 3 that we are going to learn today. Okay, so what is the learning outcome of this block? So the course objectives of these blocks are explore the tension and synthesize between tradition and modernity in religious educations, investigate the mechanisms through which religious authority legitimize moral and social orders, analyze the sociological functions and community building role of diverse sacred physical spheres, differentiate between the distinct societal archetypes of prophets and gurus across global faiths. Okay, so these are the objectives. Then what will be the outcome of these learning goals? Okay, so you will be able to understand critically, analyze religious instruction as a broad sociological phenomenon rather than mere doctrinal transmission, map the structural transition from charismatic leadership to bureaucratic religious institutions, access how architecture spaces such as temple, mosque, etc. dictate social egalitarianisms and cultural preservations, right? Synthesize the complex interplay between individual spiritual essence and sweeping societal changes. Okay, so coming to religious education of unit 11, okay, tradition and modernity. So you know what is tradition and what is modernity, right? So tradition is basically the early way of practice, the early way of belief, the early way of understanding, or they have the customs, they have their own understanding of religion and practice of religion. Okay, so what is paradigm shift? So moving beyond dogmas. Okay, so religious educations has evolved from mere oral transmission of rituals to a holistic pursuit of ultimate meaning to in a postmodern world. Okay, so you know this religious education it has actually transformed. Nah? So earlier it was through oral or through storytelling or through some mantras, rituals that people start to recognize and believe in the faith, in any faith, right? But now the people or the society try to analyze, try to critically see why religion as a institution is being celebrated or is being believed or is being practiced, right? So there is a paradigm shift. Okay, paradigm shift means one knowledge to another knowledge, how it has been shifting because of the contemporary thinking and intellectual growth. Okay, so holistic understanding embrace moral, spiritual, and ethical dimensions. Okay, so what is the modern challenge? Striking a delicate balance between defending fundamental traditional values and preserving modern individual freedoms and analytical reasonings. Okay, so you know in the modern challenge that religion is not only understood as a belief system, but now the people, the society started questioning, started to know the reasons behind understanding any or practicing behind any religion, religion knowledge. Okay, so what is the core dimensions? Okay, so interfaith coexistence, utilizing religion differences as a driving force of dialogue-oriented, inclusive society, interfaith coexistence. Okay, and what is core dimension is societal anchor, answering existential questions to position individual within a cosmos. So, you know, this religious education is really important. Okay, because we have two kinds of people, two kinds of societies, like orthodox, we call it radical, liberal, and progressive, right? So when you become too much radical, obviously there is a when there is more radical, there is always a greater chances of conflict, right? So, and when there is more liberal towards understanding other society, towards understanding other culture, towards understanding other religious aspects, then there is a flow of liberal thinking that is the core dimensions of understanding the religion towards individual within the cosmos. What is Unit 12? Meaning and role of religious authorities. Okay, so here we will try to learn authorities as an act of sociological anchors who elucidate sacred texts, formula, doctrines and guide adherence. So यहाँ पे हम लोग actually religious authority के बारे में पढ़ने के लिए जा रहे हैं. Okay, like you know, in the rural areas, in Tripura or in other parts of the India, we have some traditional healers or local gurus or local priests, right? So the priest, example, Hindu priesthood. Okay, so Hindu priesthood, we have the shamans, we have the prophets or cultic leaders, right? So when you talk of priest, it is institutional traditions. Like we have lots of priests even in Northeast, in particular in Tripura, who resides over the any ritualistic activities, right? Maybe like Durga Puja ritual activity, or during the marriage, during the funeral or death ceremony. So these are the priests, right? So they are the administered codified rituals, preserve creeds and maintains historical social continuity. So these are the people, these religious authorities are the people who preserve the traditional or the ancient learnings of being a priest, or the process in which they perform, right? The performing of being a priest authority. Okay, and coming to the shaman, we know direct ritual experience and transcendent interactions. Okay, shaman during times of crisis or illness, right? We also have shamans, right? We call shamans as the traditional healer also. Sometimes when a person or an individual is not comfortable with the medical, with the allopathic medicines, then they go to the shamans, right, for treatment or for some specific traditional healings, right? And the prophets, we also have the prophets charismatic leaders who perform certain magics to heal or to perform certain duties towards the society. And Unit 13, we have functions of religious authorities, right? The cycle of legitimations, interpretive labor, translating ancient texts into actionable moral ethics. Okay, and we have the ritual enactment ceremonies that validates social transactions and consolidate group identity. Okay, so you have our Emil Max Weber, who talks about how ritual as a performance is actually a form of collective representation. Okay, so what Malinowski also talks about, how religion as a performance also reduce the anxiety of the individuals. So it is totally the functionalist school of thought talks about how religion as an aspects of forms is very important in collective representations, okay, of society. Okay, So then you come to ritual enhancement, and you come then ritualization of charisma, right? Transforming a charismatic founder's revolutionary claims into enduring codified bureaucrats. Okay, like Max Weber talks about how traditional, bureaucratic, and charismatic authority, right? So how a leader of charisma, like a priest can be a charisma, or any charismatic leader. We have like our Mahatma Gandhi. In India we have like Albert Einstein. We have the charismatic leader like Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so these are all the charismatic leaders who doesn't perform magic, but they are more different, more active, more unique than the rest. So they are known to be the charismatic leader. Okay, so contemporary transformations, if you talk about then modern globalization and media simultaneously democratized religious access, like enabling entrepreneurs, real faith networks, and disperse traditional hierarchical accountability. So if you come to Unit 14, it is temple, mosque, gurudwara, and church. So you are aware of the temple, church, mosque, gurudwara, right? So temple in case of Hindu and Buddhist, right? So it is a place, it is a devotion and a cultural heritage where center of introspection, ritual preservations, and unifying cultural festivals takes place, right? So mosque, you know how Islamic or the Muslims go to those uh, as they are a temple, they also worship unity and social responsibility. It fosters community cohesion, embodies ethical conduct, social control, and actively facilitates philanthropy, zakat. Okay, so similarly, the Gurudwara, like Sikh, emphasize egalitarian and social justice, actively dismantles social divisions through inclusive practice like langar, community kitchen, and empowerment initiatives. Then come the church. The Christians emphasize community engagement and support, functions as a hub of organized charitable activities, identity, consolidations, and pastoral social supports. Okay, so you can read all this in your PPTs. Now coming to rule of prophets and gurus. So the prophet, Abrahamic traditions, okay, origin of authority like celestial, envoy, direct recipients of divine revelations, sociological functions like communicates the intention of the divine, acts as a disruptive force calling society back to ethical conduct. Okay, directions, it focuses outward on historical trajectories, societal metamorphosis, and community adherence to divine law like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam's. Okay, so what about the gurus? Okay, the prophets we have talked about. Now the gurus, that is shared goals, societal and spiritual transformation. Eastern traditions, okay, origin of authority, personal attainment of profound enlightenment, and self-realizations. Okay, what is the role of gurus? An venerated mentor guiding disciplines out of ignorance and into ultimate truth. Okay, this is the sociological functions about the gurus. What is the directions? So coming to directions, focuses inward on holistic well-being, personal spiritual awakening, and customized mentorship. Example, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism. Okay, so all these rule of prophets and gurus, you can go through it, okay, by looking into the PPTs. So these blocks will actually comes with a question. Reflect on the key sociological dynamics explored in today's lecture. Okay, in what ways are tradition and modernity connected and balanced within modern religious educations? Identify the main social functions performed by religious authorities, providing one concrete sociological examples for its functions. Then, thirdly, define a distinct concepts of the prophet and the gurus and contrast how they exert influence on societal structures. So, coming to the conclusions, lecture summary, the architecture of belief, religion sustains itself not just through abstract belief, but through the structured translation of the sacred into the social. Okay, so educations in terms of Unit 11 talks about how it builds the cognitive and moral framework transitioning from rigid dogmas to holistic worldview formations. Then you come authority and agents in Unit 13, 12, 13, 14, 15 talks about how bureaucratic priests or traditional shamans or charismatic prophet gurus legitimize these frameworks and enforce social cohesions. Then coming to lastly, the physical instructions of Unit 14 serve as a vital crucibles like temples, mosques, gurdwaras, and churches, where these theories are transformed into lived community practices, altruism, and collective identity. Okay, so this is the lecture of the block number 3. Okay, so lecture. Okay. So if you have any queries, if you want anything to discuss, then you are free to. This is open for you, Mr. Devabrata. Anything you have not understood, Mr. Devabrata, about this block number 3? Anything? Okay, then I will go to another block number 4, because as last week I have not taken, I was unable to take the class of block 3. Today I have taken the block 3. I will also start with the block 4. Okay, are you okay, Mr. Devabrata? Are you there? Okay, then I think since today only you are there, I will take this lecture in the next class. Okay. No, next class, let's do it. Let's do it doubt clarification session. Okay. Okay. So in a block number 4, religion and culture. Okay, religion and culture. So we have already discussed about the block number 3, right? Last in the just few minutes back. I will go directly to unit breakdown of block 4. Okay. So unit 15, religion and culture. Unit 17, religious minorities. Unit 18, religion and politics. Unit 19, religion and movements. Unit 20, religion and contradictions. Okay. So learning goals for block number 4 is course objectives. We can say explore the interdependent relationship between culture and religious frameworks, analyze the power dynamics and feminist critiques surrounding religious minorities, examine the intersections of religion, politics, and socio-economic status, map the structural differences between reformative and revolutionary religious movements, and what will be the course outcome after going through this. blocks. Okay, so articulate persons and groups, theories of social and cultural system, evaluate minority rights against a backdrop of state patriarchy, deconstruct the concept of political theology in modern governance, classify contemporary religious shift amid global secularizations. Okay, so unit 16. Let's come to the units. Okay, religion and culture. Okay, so see the diagram. See the diagram. The culture system and the social system. Okay, so how it is intertwined. Okay, how they mix each other. Okay, so cultural system defines individual conduct, share values, and tangible ethereal societal elements. Okay, similarly, the social systems opposite to cultural system is the structural institutions like family, science, commerce, government. Okay, so these are the social systems. Then what equivalence? What does these two culture and social system coexist? Okay, provides the all-encompassing structure of significance. Okay, so culture and social system both encompasses the structure of the uh, encompassing structure of the significance. Okay, so the universal phenomena, anthropologists and sociologists like Comte, Spencer, Durkheim assert that religion is a universal human phenomenon that cannot function independently of its cultural host. Okay, so coming to unit 17, religious minorities. Okay, so who are the minorities? So we have the dominant majorities religion Hindu, right? But who are the minorities? That needs to be checked, that needs to be understand being a student of sociology. Minorities are defined not merely by numbers but by persistent power, differential, judicial, prejudiced, and marginalizations. Multiculturalism, okay, like Taylor, Perec, Kimlicka, okay, focuses safeguarding collective cultural rights. Then, what about the arguments of all these theories? Culturals qualify for minority rights based on language, moral standing, and societal contributions, protecting them from tyranny of being a tyranny of majorities. Then comes a feminist critic like Susan Okin, focuses on individual rights within minority groups. Argument, it warns that state-backed fundamentalism and exclusive privilege can reinforce male dominance and gender-basic bias, compelling women to trade basic rights for cultural heritage. Okay. So coming to next unit, unit 18 is religion and politics. So you know how politics is always pervasive, as Michel Foucault has said, right? So secular democracies and one is theocratic regimes, right? Secular democracy is about strict demarcations between religious establishment and the states, whereas theocratic regimes is religious leaders exercise direct political power. So, coming to that, political theology, the sociological analyzes how religious ideas permeate political discourse, inspiring activism and influencing policies. Class, ethnic origins, immigration status, these are all aspects of the politics, right? So politics of class, politics of ethnic origins, politics of immigration status, and then religious affiliation frequently intersects with societal strata driving political alignments. What about the religion and movement then? Religion movement emerged from social, political, and economic pressures acting as vehicles for either gradual refinement or radical paradigm shifts. Okay? Dimension, reformative movements, revolutionary movements. What is reformative movements? Internal. It is more internal. Revolutionary, external, gradual and targeted, radical and all-encompassing. Protestant Reformative, and Vatican XI New Age movement. Okay, what is Unit 20 Religion and Contradictions talks about? So let's see what it talks about. Okay, the definitional crisis. How do we define religious affiliation in a socio-politically diverse, globalized civilizations facing these simultaneous contradictory realities? Okay, so secularization and tech. The rise of advanced technology, science, and declared religious apathy. Quarter of the population in Europe declaring itself religiously unaffiliated. What about the enduring zeal then? The reverse, the enduring character of global faith. Example, Japan's hyper-advanced society maintaining deep reverence for the natural world. The explosive growth of Christianity in Africa to an estimate 200 million. So coming to this last lecture, we can to the towards the end of the lectures. Let's see, like 16, for example, is about culture, which provides the foundational meaning and social structures, right? And the politics, wealth, and institutionalized the religious power, and minorities test the equality and power dynamics of the structure. Movements like drive continuous evolution against those institutions. So it's all surrounded under the religion aspect, right? Resulting in contradiction, the complex paradoxical reality of modern global faith. So these are the check your progress questions, like how does Susan King feminism critique challenge the traditional multicultural defense of minority rights? Differentiate between reformative and revolutionary religious movement using distinct historical examples. Explain the concept political theology and evaluate its role in modern governance. Conclusion: religion is not a standalone phenomenon. It is an inescapable cultural subsystem. It profoundly influences and is continuously influenced by structural power dynamics, state politics, and continuous social movements. Understanding the sociology of religion requires navigating the paradox of global secularizations existing alongside enduring spiritual chills. So, this is the end of today's lecture. In the next class, we will be having the course clarification sessions. Okay. So that's it for today. See you in the next class. Okay.